Hey, welcome to this episode of Happy Today podcast. Today's topic is what is the benefit of experience management to different roles? And let's Sami start actually from the employees of the organization, the enterprise. So the 10,000 people working for a 10,000 person company. So the end users of IT. So if we think about this always like, okay, the old world was this output focused. So you were measured by SLAs about the output that you're doing. Yeah. And now the new world is this outcome based, XLA based topic. So I think with end users, the old world was that, thinking of IT, well, you contact the support desk, you feel like they just want to get rid of you. And they make you feel that it's my fault. And it kind of like, I don't want to call them anymore. So how do you see that this will change if the organization adopts this outcome-based culture to run that?
I think the big change there is that what we have already heard from many end users and companies is that there start to be trust from the end users, because, for example, in our surveys we are asking end users to also do how much time you lost because of this incident or request.
Yeah.
And typical IT people are like, that's a complicated question. But when we tested that in the beginning of this company with hundreds of end users, they said, oh, finally IT is interested in my time. And that is kind of that starts the process from, okay, now they really listen to me and they really want to help me. And they are not just optimizing something in IT. So one thing, if you are doing discussions with your end users, ask them about the SLAs. I would recommend to do that, because that's giving you the experience that sadly they know about them.
Yeah.
And because that's an agreement thing. They shouldn't be knowing that you are responsible for answering phone in 2 minutes and in 2 hours. It means that IT is using that as an excuse when somebody is not satisfied with the service. You explain that, hey, but we did it as we have promised.
Yeah.
It doesn't help in the situation you are having some problems in with IT, and you need help.
And I think another aspect is that if they feel in this new world that now they are trying to help me. Also, if they are asking from me, how was my experience? Yeah. I'm much more, I feel that I want to contribute. I want to respond. I want to tell what can be the things that they could improve, because I know that they are trying to make me happy and productive.
Yeah. And it's in there a very, very crucial thing is that what you ask is asking the end user feelings. You are not asking, did we follow our processes in IT, because that would definitely turn it around, that they will never answer your surveys anymore. Yeah. Because again, you were only interested about, did you follow or did your guys follow the process as promised? All
right, then going for the next level is then we have the whole IT department. Yeah. So from the 10,000 employee company, you might have like some hundreds of people working in the IT. So I guess in the old world of this output thing, like, you come to work, it's like, I have all these ideas, but actually my work is just to keep the lights on, systems running. Then I get these end users, they are complaining. I'll try to deal with them. And I kind of understand that I really can't even help them.
So you only explain them that why did we do a good service, because we answered your phone call.
Yeah. So how would this change in this new outcome-based world?
Purpose, which means that there is motivation for those employees. It's so much more motivating to help people and get something which has a value to the company. And in fact, quite often to people. Yeah. In those, if you have 10,000 end user company, one IT person, whoever he is or she is, it's really hard to see the whole value to the whole kind of a business case of that company. But you understand when you get the feedback from the end users and you really help them or help a team in there or one person.
Yeah, it kind of feels that, hey, I'm here to come and help my colleague, because then they're actually the ones who are working with the external customers. And when they are happy, they make our external customers happy. Our company, does better and all that things. Then what about specifically then in service desk? If you think about the service desk manager and the agents, how do you see this old world? Because there the SLAs are so kind of, they are so kind of deep in their culture in service desk.
I think the change there for the agents is very, very concrete. And we have already proved from some of our customers that when agents have been starting to get the feedback directly from the end users, they can learn and their motivation changes. So there was one customer, Region Mid from Denmark. Jesper told us that there is a huge change after taking our product in use in the agent satisfaction.
Yeah.
And the only reason is that they started to get feedback. Every time they resolve a ticket, if the end user gave a feedback, they did receive that immediately.
Yeah.
Starting to learn. And the thing there is that 75% or even more of the feedback we are gathering, in fact nowadays 80% of the feedback we are getting is positive.
Yeah.
So think about it, if you as a marketing director or chief product officer in our company, if you would be getting
only the negative feedback.
Which is the typical thing. But nowadays, if you could on daily basis get 15 positive feedbacks from people who did see our brand somewhere, you would be really motivated. And that is what we can offer, what you can do with the agents. They would get that feedback and then, okay, this is how I help somebody. And then you do the next thing even better.
Yeah.
And if you get that bad feedback, you learn. And of course, now as a manager of this kind of team, much more easy to run a team and work with a team who is having a target that is motivated, not closing tickets, but
Sami, we actually do get a lot of positive feedback on G2, so people can go and read it on there. So because I guess it's also because we do have that culture. I mean, I'm also, I think in our company, all the employees are thinking like, how can we make this better for our customer, the end user, who is the user of HappySignals. So I think that's just logical in that way. Then I think also related to the service desk is then service owners who are responsible of outsourcing the service desk. And basically in the old world is that, they outsource to external provider, make sure that the sanctions are in place and, that there is CSAT agreed for the next 2 years.
Yeah. It's again, I think this goes for both, and it can be internal or external services. It's if you have those two fixed SLAs, and if they are even underlined with the sanctions in the agreement, the whole thing what you do is focus on that one. You have to deliver. That is what you report. That is what you are followed. That is how you are. That is how you are measured.
Yeah.
And you can be on the provider side of that. You are doing things that are stupid. You know it from your heart that there is no point that we are working like this. But it is to just get us to those targets that we have. Yeah. Simultaneously, you understand that we should be using our time differently so that we would gain more satisfied end users, or our service quality in overall would be better. So I think that is the big difference between the SLA we're working on XLA or experience management. You start to kind of do more motivating work.
It becomes this cooperation with your vendors, not this fight between your vendors, which is like, why would anybody go to work to fight with your partners and your vendors? It's like,
and this if going back to the agent, it's I will not mention the provider, the customer here, but there was one customer who really changed the co-working from being like a bit against to working like this. Even this team went to India to work with the team, with the agents of their provider, to get them understand what is experience management and why we care about the experiences of our end users. It was so scary for those agents that some of them fainted in the beginning because they now met the customer and who was willing to help them and work together. So there is, but in the end they make enormous results. Exactly. But really kind of just underlines that if you focus on those old metrics, there are people who will only care about those because that is what they are measured, and they are scared of losing their job if they don't meet those targets. So it's so black and white for them. And that when you change that to be, hey, your task is to help people, it's totally different thing.
Then I think there's like a lot of different types of service owners in IT departments. So somebody responsible of the service management, somebody about the end user services, somebody about the infrastructure and laptops and so on. So I guess in the old world, it was kind of like just, agreeing on something, this is the policy, okay, let's keep it up and running, and that's it. And just making sure that we report to the management team that everything is okay.
Yeah.
And then I guess in the new world, it actually becomes that you can actually get this data, real-time data. It's very easy to understand what are the problems. Yeah. And actually, towards the management team, you can be proactive. You can start to suggest that, hey, I think we should do these things because the data is showing it. It's not just my gut feeling, but based on the data, this is what we can do to improve the happiness and the productivity.
So you can go to the IT management team with a proposal that, hey, if we spend now 100K more in this one, in fact, we will save 500,000.
Yeah.
And that is proven by 5,000 end users who said us this and this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of making business cases of the feelings.
Yeah.
And I think that's
kind of imagining like how it would be as a service owner to go do like that, to take that to the management team, and not just waiting that somebody in the management team is going to be maybe asking me something. What should
or
you
the
do
typical
next?
thing how it goes is that business starts to complain about something, they figure out that, but you might be able to turn it around.
Yeah. Then if we go then to the IT directions and IT management team, how does it help there? In the old world, it's still like, you had this just to control. Everything was about controlling, and maybe, at the very top, you only see that watermelon, the green part. Maybe then you hear it at some point that, okay, somebody's complaining, but it's still, everything is kind of fine.
It's again, in those management teams, it's very typical way of working was earlier that, focusing on the budget. It's shared like this, and this is how we are doing. And next year, CFO says that we will have to save 5%, it's 10% of IT budget, and we are in that kind of a productivity inside IT, that we do processes even more efficient. And now when in there, you start to discuss, okay, this is the whole picture of how we are helping our own employees. And we should do these things as a change to really get our end users happier.
Yeah.
The same thing, you come there with the proposal, okay, this is what I found from the data. The management team has a purpose.
Yeah.
So they have a kind of area that, okay, now a new way of doing decisions, how we spend the money.
Yeah.
And I think from here it goes quite easily to the IT director and CIO. Back to the same thing, he has a new way of running his IT management team.
Yeah.
And again, focusing on the purpose and focusing on the outcome of the whole IT delivery.
True.
Not saving cost all the time. Of course. But what is fun here is that, in fact, when you have that focus, you also save money.
That's true, because you're not just putting it all over the place to hope that something would improve somewhere. Yeah. Then I think the logical step is that, okay, now we're talking about the IT department. What about outside IT? What about the business stakeholders? What do they see different if a company changes their culture to work in this experience management?
I think this is for me very, very kind of an important area, because in overall the IT reputation is quite bad. In the bigger the organization, more likely they are having a bad reputation. And as a business director, you kind of feel in very, very many cases that IT just delivers what I asked them to do, if even that.
Yeah.
And support services having quite bad reputation inside IT and inside companies quite often as well. So there is no real trust.
Yeah.
But what happens here when the companies start to really take the experience of end users to be the top target, we start to be proactive. So now finally, the same guy who was now thinking about how he will present that to the management team, the same guy or the director of IT can go to the business and say, hey, 10,000 of your end users said that this is not working.
Yeah.
This is why we are now proposing that we do this and this kind of project. Could we get the budget for it?
Yeah.
And then you definitely get the budget for it, because it is their end users saying what is problem.
Yeah.
So it might be a totally new thing for that business director. And then he's thinking, now our IT knows what they should be doing and they are proactive.
True.
And that's really a big difference to the kind of current situation. I don't trust IT.
Yeah.
During this COVID time, there has been change in this trust, because IT in most of the organization, or almost all of them, did an amazing work when people have to start to work from home. And then business start to realize that yes, there is a great value of IT. But now we just have to continue that same way and keep that connection. And some people are really thinking that yes, it's the CIO should be talking with all the business leaders one-to-one and have that. No, or yes, but that's not enough. You should be understanding the rest of it, to be able to serve them better, understand their end user better than they do, and then you can serve them with a proactive service.
Yeah, cool. I think that wraps it up for this episode. So hopefully you now understand that when you're talking about experience management with your different colleagues in your organization, you can explain the benefits of why you should take it into use, what did it bring you. And also in the guide, if you want to learn more, like what are the steps to kind of get to this type of way, we have the kind of creating the experience management culture chapter there, and also like the steps to happiness. So it is very practical things that you can do to achieve.
So don't get afraid of what I just said. It doesn't happen in a week or two.
Yeah.
It has to start from those steps that we describe in the guide. Yeah. So do them, and it takes a year or more to be even near to the level that we describe now.
Yeah. All right. Hope you enjoyed it. As we say, stay happy and stay safe.